I'm not sure what to think about top lane right now. I think it's probably in a good spot since there's tanks and carries, and you can play everything, kind of.
When it's not only tank tops, then I think it's a lot better for me at least, because then I can be a lot more flexible, and we like to play champions where impacting top can win you games. So I think that right now top lane is quite good for jungle because a lot of matchups are vulnerable and you can impact that. The great thing about us as a duo is like, I'm down for whatever Wonder wants to play. We just figure out how we make it successful, you know? That's kind of the story of every pick. Wonder plays like so many champions. Sometimes I'm like, holy f***, how he plays one game on a specific champion and it's like, yeah, I'm probably really good at this champion, I'll continue playing this. So, and then we just work together as a team, and me and him, to find out how to play around it, and then it's fine.
Okay, so my favorite part about that is I did the interview, and the context you missed when he said I can play anything is that Wonder spent like 5 minutes describing why he wanted to play Akali competitively. So really hope we see Akali. Side note, I mean, we've already seen Fizz. It doesn't feel outside of the realm of possibility.
Hey, over in the CBLOL, they have actually been playing some Akali top lane. She has been getting steady buffs over a period of patches. But now you're just getting the fans' hopes up, Draco.
Yeah, we're getting my hopes up too. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EULCS. Origen do now have red side in this game. Potentially not going to see too many changes to the pick and ban, although we do expect to see Fizz taken away.
Will be like,
yeah.
No, fishes are prohibited from entering the Rift today.
There's also Nami.
That could also open up the possibility of a Spider joining the Rift instead. Perhaps they want to shift the focus and say, okay, look, we can't give Wonder a top laner that's like super good at carrying, so why don't we just allow Trashy to have one of his carry junglers? Like, we'll give him maybe an Elise. Bear in mind that OG, they're still on red side for this game, so they won't be able to shift too much up. They won't be able to get that first pick, which means they may very well still have to ban away the Malzahar, and they might be stuck in banning away the Camille as well.
I'm curious to see what the strategy was. Because, of course, Origen had side selection, and they opted into red side again. So we have to assume that something's going to change, that maybe they thought, hey, if the Fizz wasn't there, we could have just won. We could have...
If Fizz wasn't there, maybe
it was
we could have
all
won.
Fizz's fault.
I mean, he definitely had a big impact. But we shall have to see as we jump into the second game. Draft.
Now, game 2, remember, this is do or die for Origen. On the side of Splyce, this is a chance for them to improve, a chance for them to adapt in the coming weeks, where the pressure will grow for them for playoffs. But for Origen, this is a battle for survival. Here's where the path may end. This team, for this organization, they'll be doomed to the promotion tournament. And there's a lot of tough competition this year. However, Spider remains banned away. The Catfish quick to follow. Zyra taken off the table as well. Looks like Splyce are more than happy to just rinse and repeat and run the same ban phase back to back.
Yep. If Origen continue with the same pattern, they're looking to ban away the Malzahar on this rotation. I think you can gamble and leave it open. You actually give Splyce the Malzahar, and then you look to pick the Lulu into it. Lulu's a very strong champion. Never mind, this point is completely invalid because they've banned away the Malzahar. I think this is a gamble because now you're either giving Wonder the option of picking Fizz, or you're giving him the option of picking Camille.
Or you take the Fizz away, because there's no way Splyce are going to first pick it.
But then you're giving Wonder the opportunity to pick something into the Fizz. And
well, Gnar now banned off the table, so interesting opportunities here. Looks like maybe trying to bait Wonder into the Camille pick, and then now, is this going to be the Renekton Vedius? Are we just going to see the immediate pick back?
Shen is available. Shen usually is banned in every single LCS game. Now, he wasn't actually banned or picked in last game, but I think it would make a lot of sense for him to be prioritized here. He is a pretty good pick into the Camille. He can trade pretty effectively. He will eventually get outscaled, but at least during the laning phase, he's pretty solid. Origen don't like my drafting ideas, Dracos.
You're an amateur, Vedius. Clearly, Rumble was the right answer all along. Now, it could be a jungle Rumble. We have seen... I would argue more than our fair share of jungle rumbles today. Not a huge fan of the pick, but OG, you know, maybe putting this in the top lane as well.
Like, Rumble is fine early game. He'll push the Camille in, but he gets outscaled much sooner than the Camille. The difference is Rumble has a much bigger team fight impact than, say, a Shen necessarily would. So perhaps Origen are just saying, look, we're going to try and force you into fights, which with the Rumble, we should have an advantage, given that you are playing Camille.
Yeah, Camille, of course, not known for insane fight presence without a significant lead. Wonder did build one last game, but the thing that makes me excited about this game is that Lee Sin, Vedius, giving Syncroft a champion where he can start to dictate the pace of the game. But right as I say that, the opposite side, Trashy, now getting his hands on the Gragas, and this is the absolute definition of comfort. Oh, yeah. Run it back. Run it back.
Wait, we forgot. We completely forgot that this was Mickey who brought out the bottom lane Camille. It's the Ziggs Camille bottom lane.
Love watching Splyce games.
Oh, Splyce. They got us. They got us.
The thing that's the best part about this, and the worst part is, I have no confidence that anything is as we're predicting it right now. Like, I could be a Fizz mid, a Camille top, Gragas jungle. The only thing I'm reasonably sure of is the Gragas jungle at
But
this
even
point.
then, that could be a Gragas top. It's a pretty safe top laner. Wonder can play it. You can look to then put Trash on like a Kha'Zix. You don't know. Like, I mean, that could be Fizz jungle too. Highly unlikely.
Well, there's a pick ban phase, and then there's the Splyce mystery power hour where you never know where anything's gonna go. Lulu, though, we can be pretty sure is going to the bot lane. OG, we know where we can expect everything to go. And
yes.
I think they're pretty confident in assuming it will be the support Camille, it will be the Fizz top, it will be the Gragas jungle. And the mid lane bans continue to be the trend here in the second pick ban phase, almost identical to the previous pick ban overall.
By doing this, what you're enabling is the possibility for the Fizz to go in mid, because I remember having a conversation with Perks about this a long time ago where I'm like, oh, you know, have you seen all these recent Fizz changes? I actually think it could be pretty good. And he's like, yeah, but the big problem you have with Fizz is that his laning phase is like super weak and he can be really easily bullied by champions like Syndra and Ryze. Now, bear in mind, Syndra's now been banned away. Ryze has experienced a lot of nerfs, and you want to take away these early game champions, which are very good at punishing champions.
And I like this Ziggs ban coming in from Origen. They do not want to give over the Camille Ziggs bot lane combo, which we have affectionately called the boombox due to the alt combo. And it makes sense. You don't want to give them the early pushing advantage. We already saw what Splyce could do with an early game lead. You give them early game champions, they are sure to kind of just run away with this one. But Splyce taking away the Jace that has been the Nation special.
Now, if you're Origen, looking at a possible... it's so difficult. Like, Ezreal, I think, would be the safest, but you're going to have a rough laning phase. Why do I bother predicting? Why?
Shout out to the Korean mid laners in European LCS for playing Talon. We saw it in the hands of Knights. It was an immaculate performance despite losing in the end. Now we're going to see how Nahan handles it, how he can pilot this pick to his advantage. And it's...
Oh, bear in mind, Kobe had a lot of success on both Lucian and Caitlyn in last split, two of his strongest champions. But he was just teasing us. Bit of a taster. We'll just continue with what he played last split.
Mickey.
Stop it. Don't bait for the hover. We've fallen for it before.
He's playing with our hearts, ladies and gentlemen. Don't trust him. Okay, that one you can trust. Vladimir now locked in. This is the Senkook special. When we saw Senkook's kind of going from 7th place Splyce mid laner to approaching top of the table Splyce mid laner, it was Splyce, it was these team fighting comps, and it was this Vladimir pick backing him up. So this is old school comfort coming in once again for him. You've got comfort for Trashy as well, and I like the comp Splyce have put together.
You've got a playmaker once again for Mickey on the Camille. You've got a frontline tank in the form of Gragas. You've got two fantastic split pushes in the form of Fizz and Vladimir. And oh my word, we are seeing the Lulu Kog'Maw.
Yes. Ooh. Now, notoriously people are critical of this lane because it is a lot of right-click and hope that you kill people.
Yes.
But when you can kill people, you can kill everybody. Kog'Maw is terrifying.
Now, people may not believe me, but Origen actually have a fantastic team fight composition. People don't appreciate how good Talon actually is in team fights. And I'd highly recommend, if you didn't watch the previous game with Roccat versus Giants, go and watch Knight play Talon, because he did such a fantastic job of utilizing how easy it is to set up flanks, how easy it is to actually dive onto the backline and be such a big kill threat. And once he instigates, once he dives onto that priority target, then you have this this Kog'Maw just run in with the Lulu. He's pretty much a tank at that point, and he just steamrolls. He just stands there like an artillery weapon, just sieging through the entire lineup of Splyce. It's an exciting comp, but it's very difficult to get to that point in the game.
Very difficult against a Fizz, against a Camille, against a Gragas as well. A lot of pressure put onto Tabs in this composition, but this is it. Origen fans, you're going to need the proverbial spirit bomb of #OG wins at LoL Esports. Origen are down. Splyce are up, but Splyce, can they take it with the 2-0? Hashtag SPY win is what you need to put in. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2. Loading bars rolling up. Game getting ready.
I'm going to give you a hype moment. It's coming.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's do or die time for Origen, as it has been in the last few weeks. They've found single wins. They've yet to find a series, but can they turn it back? Can they pull the nail out as Splyce are so determined to drive it home? Red side once again. You've got Talon, you've got Kog'Maw, you've got a Camille support, and a Fizz top. This is going to be an explosive game. And he's red now.
He is
chosen red.
He has decided to choose red. Just mixing things up. Splyce have actually grouped up as a 5-man unit, trying to get a better vision around OG's jungle. Want to see where Syncroft is starting. Will enable Wonder to understand what he wants to do. Now, we can talk a little bit more about this Fizz versus Rumble matchup as we get into the laning phase, but just keep your eyes on what Origen is doing while they know that Splyce is getting all this deep vision in, because the common practice is to respond vision with vision. If you can see all these members of Splyce trying to get knowledge of where the enemy jungler is, what you'd expect OG to be doing is doing the same, either dropping a ward down on the red buff, maybe dropping a ward down on the Krugs. They're not doing this. Tabs and Xpeke immediately went to lane, and they're actually setting up for a deep brush bait or trap so they can get a huge chunk of damage early on onto Kobe and Mickey.
And it is that double range advantage that they have on the bottom side of the map. So finding early advantage here could be big. Waiting for the brush. Mickey taking a lot of damage. Hookshot wall dive in, is not concerned. Adaptive defenses, and Tab's actually taking a poor end of that trade in the end.
That's really cool. Mickey going for the courage of the Colossus meant the moment he went in, landed the stun, he had a shield on top of his passive, which meant that he was guaranteed to win out on that trade, even in a 2 versus 1. Really well played from Mickey, no hesitation whatsoever. And they know they can look to make these sort of aggressive moves because they know where Syncroft is this early part of the jungle.
Moving forward, now Kobe's running in as well. Double exhaust burn. Tab's gonna burn heal as well. Splyce starting off aggressive on the bottom side.
Level 1 all-in play from the Splyce bottom lane, utilizing the fact that Ezreal has a huge amount of damage early on into the game. The stun coming out from Mickey is just so potent. They end up trading 1 summoner spell for 2. They're just going to continue on with this level of pressure. Stun once again.
Interesting to see. More aggression coming out. Early jungle pathing. We did see Sartorius take actually a few of the Raptors. Did stop Syncroft from getting the immediate level 2. Does still get level 3 in the end, but gives Sartorius a little bit of a lane advantage here.
So, well, we're seeing a lot of trading down bottom. Wonder shouldn't have an easy time like he did in game 1, because by going against Rumble, Rumble is a natural early game lane bully. He's all about getting that early push, putting a lot of harass down, and one of the weaknesses we were discussing about Fizz is his early game is often pretty weak. If he can get a free lane, that's ideally what he wants. He wants to work towards that Trinity Force, the Blade of the Ruin King. That's the point in which he becomes this big dueling menace. But Rumble does a great job of just shutting him down early on, constantly forcing him under his tower, losing a lot of farm, and it makes his life difficult. So now we see a gank
running
in
forward. They're trying to take him down. He's just going to get first blood. Oh, gets the empowered. Is the Q going to come out from Syncroft? Wants to follow it up. Moving forward. Flash out to safety. That's disaster for OG.
Senkux, well played, good sir. That was a fantastic outplay. Nation, he tries to go for the all-in. He doesn't respect the turnaround damage from Senkux. Need to go back and watch the replay because I wasn't entirely sure if he had his passive up and available, but if he did, the fact that Nation would go for an all-in at that point in time was just a big mistake.
I mean, he did. He had the Crimson Rush.
Well, then
he
that was
triggered
the mistake,
it. Did
right?
so much healing. There's no way that... And you just wait. You back off. You wait for Syncroft. He is right there, but we're going to have to focus on the bottom side because the fights just keep happening. Xpeke has to flash to safety. He'll be taking decent damage. Tactical sweep to back it out. Kobe just continues to get aggressive. This is so bad for OG.
This bottom lane harassment from Kobe and Mickey. I just love how brazen they are. Not afraid to just dive in whenever that stun is available. It's a pretty long cooldown at early levels, but they know that they should be able to win out on these trades, especially with a big minion wave backing you up.
Yeah, 16 seconds, all the time it takes before they're going to look for find another engage. We can watch this one.
So hey, you can see the Crimson Rush is starting to stack up. The jungler is coming in, and then Senkux, he just gets this massive heal and a huge amount of burst damage. That was just a big misplay from Nathan. Big misplay. He should have been more patient.
And the crazy part, too, is that they shifted the damage around, so the Crimson Rush isn't as critical as it once used to be, but it's still powerful. Not quite double damage anymore, but a lot. Mickey, though, walks to safety, but Trashy's here now. How confident are OG feeling? Maybe a little bit too confident. There's no flash available on Xpeke. He's going to go down. Tabs potentially next. Trashy flashing forward. Mickey with the extend. That's 2 kills for Splyce.
Beautiful setup from Splyce. OG, they thought that they could punish Mickey for trying to freeze the wave. He'd just taken a huge amount of damage that OG felt confident enough to try and push this underneath the turret, reset the wave, go back to base, pick up some items. Instead, they get caught overextending. Trashy comes in from the flank, and he's able to punish the no flash Peke and Tabs. He couldn't get out either. He ends up giving away his life, and Splyce off to another fantastic early game.
Even better than last game, I think we can safely say.
Arguably,
3-0 at the start. And this is, I feel for OG. I've been there. You think you're good, you're winning the lane, you get confident.
I mean, look at Mickey's health. You think that, hey, we can do this. And then the heal comes out. Trashy's there being like, surprise, want to have a drink? And it looks like OG, they just couldn't hold it. They drank a little bit too much.
Oh, the wall dive flash. Nice mechanical plays there coming in. This is pretty much the exact start you want. Now, Ezreal, not a really strong early game laner. Neither is Kog'Maw. Ezreal, of course, only after that post tier. But Camille getting this early start, bot lane already winning. It's going to be so difficult for OG just to survive here in the early game.
Well, so far, they're not doing a great job of surviving. And that's certainly true. 3-0 already in the favor of Splyce. And you and I talked about it, Dracos. Moving forward, looking ahead, week 9, week 10 for Splyce. As a team, they're very much about setting themselves up to be a contender for this playoff and maybe making it to that top 4 spot.
And right now for Splyce, it has to be all about week 10. We talk about week 9, that's Vitality, but week 10, that's H2K, Unicorns of Love back-to-back. But right now, it's Sartorius who's got his back to the wall. Wonder moving forward, waiting for the mark to proc, and a leap in, not going to get it in the end. Syncroft now moving forward. Wonder is out of mana. Ooh, nice sidestep from Wonder, going to save his life there.
Good utilization of the minions from Wonder to also guarantee that the Q would not land. He doesn't have any mana, he doesn't have TP, so he's going to be forced to back. But look
Mickey,
at Splyce.
Leaping forward, Xpeke has to be careful, tries to use the Glitter Lance. He wants to keep Trashy away. No interest in taking a dance with the fat man. Now Tab's backing off as well. Are they going to commit to this? Tactical sweep slows him down. Trashy just going to back out.
Well, Splyce, they're just trying to make the cross-map play onto the bottom tower. The problem is they don't have a minion wave yet. They have to force Origen's bottom away from that objective as well. But the fact that first tower gold will go in the favor of Syncrov and Sartorius is definitely a much-needed boon of gold to find your way back into the game.
And OG, they were so confident. Oh, Wonder, though, he may be the one who's so confident. Oh, leaps out, leaps in.
Smooth move.
But this is good for OG. They get a tower. They are fighting back. Those 3 kills not mattering too much right now, but Tabs is going to have to be careful. Ult goes in. Tabs still alive. Tabs still healthy. Mickey taking way too much tower damage. Tabs, who's he going to pop on? Moving in. Just going to blow up on the creep wave or on Trashy and Copy. Xpeke still alive, still comfortable. Nahyun coming over the wall. Here comes the parkour. Trashy, there's no good way out of this. Out comes the Shadow Assault. He wants a little bit more. 2 kills picked up for Nahyun.
So Origen do a great job of buying time. They actually end up getting 3 kills for 2, and they will hold on to their bottom tier 1 turret. This is the best case scenario for Origen, and they are fighting back against the overzealous and somewhat greedy
And now it's
Splyce.
even, and it's good that you call it, because that is what it is, Vedius. That was greedy on the top side from Wonder. No knowledge of where the jungler in. He wants to pick a fight. It worked out so well against the Gragas. Doesn't have the same liberty against the Rumble.
Now you're going to be giving a double kill over to Talon, who is not someone you really can afford to be giving kills over to. While Splyce in game 1 had an overfed Wonder, if that same Wonder goes up against an overfed Talon, things may very well go differently. But you can see now, OG just do a great job of buying time. Peke took a number of points, a couple of extra points into his W, and with Kobe being taken out of the fight, that's a lot of damage actually unavailable in favor of Splyce, which means that they can just buy time, they can wait for Nahyun to join the fight. And because Trashy just took 1 too many tower shots, yes, sure, they couldn't keep Peke alive, but the fact that this ended up in a 3 for 2 going in the favor of Origen, you couldn't really ask for much more.
So far, so good for OG. They gave up a lot in the early game, but they clawed back. They found an advantage for themselves, and they're not out of this yet. And while Splyce maybe is focusing on that week 10, focusing on what's ahead of them, OG just have this game right in front of them.
So now things have slowed down, things have calmed. We need to look ahead as to where things are going because the state of the map will open Sartorius up to now make these movements. Dragon is available, could be a point of contention for Origen, especially with this great teamfight composition that they do have. The big issue is they need tabs to be online. Blade of the Ruin King is a very big spike for this Cogmore, which OG should look to try and utilize. But the fact that Sartorius is now making these movements around the map, he does have his TP as well, should just give a little bit more control over the map to Origen.
Interesting, I've never seen Rift Herald spawn ever, so that was a cool moment for me. Rift Herald's now available. Thank you, observers. I don't know if that's going to be a huge focus here.
Give it to Talon. Make him purpler. To be more purple is to be a greater individual. And just like Wonder,
look.
now being red this game, he actually had a great game 1 on this Fizz. We did talk a little bit about it and how game 2, he doesn't quite have the same level of impact as he was having in game 1. This Rumble and Sartorius and Synchro doing a great job of just taking away that early tower and denying this Fizz as much as they can.
Well, OG trying to find themselves an early game objective. Only 10 minutes in, so the Ocean Drake's still pretty relevant to have. But the laning phase not over yet. OG grouped up. Mickey maybe overstaying his welcome. Kick flash not going to work. We'll take a look back at that one. Looks like the hook shot wall dive interaction. Timing perfectly coming in on Mickey.
I think it's because what happened is he threw out the hook as the kick was coming in, so the hook still landed, which means that, oh, Synchro
pulls into the wall. Trashy now trying to get something in. Mickey leaps forward again. Is going to use the Hextech ultimatum. Tabs, no safety from Wonder, but the equalizer goes in. Not going to stop the fight, though. Splyce take the advantage.
Sartorius was just a little bit too late to the party. Why didn't he teleport in behind Splyce? Splyce now committing to this objective. Nathan goes in.
Goes forward. Shadow Assault comes out. Decent damage going in. Nathan goes out. That's a nice play. He's going to leap over again. No. Blue buff ticks down. Shut down for Kabi. Ignite and forget. Now moving forward for more. Senkux has to play safe.
And that would have been a great opportunity for Origen to fight. The Dragon was exactly the kind of objective where they could have utilized this Rumble, where they could have utilized this flanking Talon. But instead, the coordination just wasn't there. OG coming in at different times. Why was Sartorius so late to the party? Like, he could have landed such a perfect ultimate right into that choke point between Blue and Dragon, and it's actually Splyce that are actually the instigators. Look at where Rumble is. He is nowhere near to this fight. Like, look at that fantastic choke point where you could be throwing an ultimate right now, and instead you land it onto pretty much no one.
And this is the exact fight you do not want to have against a Vladimir.
No.
OG, almost all the pieces were in place for them to force a fight, but Senkux.
I love this decision, though, from Origen, where they realize that Nathan still has his entire kit up. They could still very well turn things around and maybe get a kill. And if Nathan gets away, this actually ends up being an even trade, besides the fact that Origen do lose the Dragon. But it shows the potential now. Nathan, he's still pretty strong at this point in the game.
Oh, Wonder, Mickey, the dive duo now moving forward. Sartorius is in trouble. Senkux has got the damage to back them up. He's going to break. Senkux now unstoppable. Game 1, this was the story of Wonder. Game 2, Senkux 5-0. That is a dream start for any mid laner.
Mickey asserting his dominance as the superior robot here on the Rift, is able to get themselves another kill down on the top side, and now with the two-man unit of Origen, they should be able to hold for the time being. But look at the bottom lane. You still have Kobe pushing up there. You have Trashy pushing in the mid lane. So while Splyce, they make stuff happen on the top side of the map. It is Origen that are always trying to react, trying to save whatever they can. And it's just alleviating pressure from the other side for Splyce to start knocking on the door of those towers.
Yeah, continuing to keep the pressure up. OG still only down less than 2,000 gold, however. Not going to be the end of the world for these guys. You know, Camille isn't a robot, by the way.
She is with this skin. She's a robot, dude.
I don't think skins change. I mean, the core champion.
She's definitely a robot.
She's just a woman with blade legs.
Nope, she's a robot.
Look, man.
Have you ever seen the film I, Robot? The first time I heard that, I just thought that the robots were illiterate, and they go, I, Robot. In fact, that's not what it meant. It's more of a deeper philosophical meaning. You're a philosophical man. Did you get it?
I'm going to focus on the game. I don't even know what to say to you. You exist in such a different world than me, Vedius. Senkux, however, the world of Runeterra, the world of trying to one-shot Xpeke. That world looks pretty good for him. There's 3 members of OG here, one of which is standing on a ward, so no surprises. Now continuing to keep the pressure up, but they don't really have any tools to break down this tower. OG, though, Pushing in waves, mounting pressure on the map. What else are they going to find?
Now, given that Senkux doesn't have his ultimate available, it will enable OG to start putting a little bit more weight towards this tower. They actually have a 4-man unit. Peke's on his way back. Notice that Wonder, he's moving his way through the river right now. OG, they instead say, you know what, we don't want to commit to this tower right now. We're going to play it cool. We're going to play it chill. Not a massive gold deficit while the kills are heavily in the favor of Splyce. Note that they actually haven't been able to take any turrets as of yet, which is enabling OG to still feel pretty confident, still feel comfortable enough to actually trade back against Splyce.
Looks good for him so far. Kog'Maw has the Blade of the Rune King, as you talked about as well, as he gets more items. We'll hit that mid-game stride once you have a few under the belt. So many on-hit effects to dish out the damage.
I still remember that G2 versus Fnatic game where Reckless was playing Kog'Maw, who got shut down all game. And then all of a sudden, he comes back late into the game. He literally stands still with Lulu.
Okay.
He had 4 times attack speed.
Let's be honest. That was my least favorite weird of all time. The stand still with 5.0 attack speed Kog'Maw and kill everyone.
But the point I'm trying to illustrate is while that's not the same Kog'Maw that we have now, it's the late game power. And Origen always have that window in the bag, right? No matter how far behind they fall, if Kog'Maw gets to like 3, 4, especially 5 items, you overstep even remotely and he melts you. Literally like a volcano falls on top of you. It's that severe.
Oh, Mickey. No volcano on top of Mickey. We're not there yet, though, Vedius. 1-3-4, the scoreline for Tabs. He's not getting too much CS either. 107 to the 146 on the side of Kabi. Most of this gold lead is just CS differentials to this stage of the game. 144 to 124 in the mid lane. Looks grim. Mickey, though, may be overstaying the welcome. Kick, go in. No, exhaust goes down. Hop right back out.
Good heal there from Kabi. Now Splyce, they're forced to retreat. But Mickey, shame on you for face checking. You had a Gragas with you. You could have thrown a barrel into the brush. Regardless, now Nahyun goes aggressive.
Wants to get a little bit more. Pool's going to actually take health away from Senkux. Flash to safety. Ooh, runs in. Crimson Rush, and that's a rush for Senkux.
Great outplay from the Vladimir, but now Syncroft, he's coming to try and clean up.
Wants a little bit more. Crimson Rush on the way. It's going to be a big healing differential. Can he get it off? No. Shutdown for Syncroft. That's a nice move back from OG, the shutdown.
And Vladimir ends up in a pile of his own blood, but he is still able to get himself the 1 versus 1. Will result in a tower in the top lane for Splyce as well. So you're now starting to see the power of this Vladimir in the side lane. Itemizing very heavily towards damage. It actually sets up Splyce very nicely to take this mid tower as well as move towards that dragon. Syncroft, he's hanging off in the flank.
At this stage, Splyce now control the map once again. But it's not nearly as much of a lead as they found themselves in the previous game. It was 6K at 15 minutes for Splyce.
So Splyce haven't quite had the same level of impact, and it very much rounds back into what we were talking about, Wonder, and how he is an individual. He loves this meta. He's able to now play more carry champions. And while he couldn't quite be able to solo kill Sartorius on the Rumble,
He just got over-eager.
Yeah. He's still having a good game. He's 0-1-3. Training Force is now done. He's still a potent split pusher at this point in the game, but Sartorius isn't so far behind that he won't be able to hold him.
And at the end of the day, OG may be the bottom team in the EULCS, but they're still the bottom team of the EULCS. They are a competitive team. If you give them these opportunities, they will take them. They will find them. Nahyun, though, continues his aggressive fight onto Senkux, waiting for the Crimson Rush to fade away. Senkux just heals right back up. Vladimir just so far ahead at this point in the game. Nahyun can't really do anything. Full combo used, traded for very little back.
The vision in the river resulted in Senkux realizing that he couldn't go for that all-in. But good movement from Splyce to just instantly rotate around to the mid lane, get themselves that tower. Will be a tower trade in the end. Sartorius forced a flash because of the dive that came out from Mickey. And again, look at Wonder in the top lane. He's just been left alone. He's knocking onto that tower once again.
The attack speed fizz is coming in. Fox said maybe we'll see the tank when Wonder falls behind a little bit, but now he wants to go in on the fight. Hextech ultimatum used on Xpeke. They've isolated them, left him alone, but Tabs can continue to dish out the damage. Equalizer goes in, but it's not hitting anybody. OG looking for a little bit more, but it's just the disengage in the end. One member weaker.
and it's OG to instigate the dragon, and it's Splyce to respond as they go into
Mickey
Syncroft.
goes in, Syncroft leaps out, nice footwork to try to make it to safety, but it's not enough. The Hemo Plague, Tab's still alive, maybe to able to get something back, can't get it in the end, heals up, and Wonder comes in for the cleanup, double kill for the Fish.
You can see Senkox, he's annoyed about that play, that was gonna be his kill. Wonder laughs as he steals it away from him.
He flashed for that.
Yeah, he did. Hey, he's the Fish, he deserves the kills. Vampires get enough blood as it is.
He's not a vampire. What is it with you and just...
He is now, to me, the Lord of
See,
Blood.
there's a difference. Like, look, if he's mad, it's like hemomancy. You know, like he uses blood, magic,
like
understand?
necromancer.
So, like, when you're Annie and you're a pyromancer, it doesn't mean that you eat fire. That's not what that means.
It doesn't? So you're telling me that those people at the circus that eat the fire and then blow it out are not pyromancers?
I mean, technically, maybe they are.
Oh, yeah, they are. Get schooled. Right. Speaking of getting schooled, you can see the OG, they try to set up for this dragon, but they end up getting flanked from Wonder again. Look at the positioning of Sartorius. This is the second time now that we've seen him try to join a fight. Just too late. He's not in the optimal position to really utilize his strengths. And OG, they're still hanging around. They still feel confident enough to commit, but Nayun can't get the proper flank off this time. Tabs doesn't have the adequate amount of support. And again, just Sartorius not having the same level of impact as Wonder is.
It's really rough because you have the equalizer. Yes, it does an insane amount of damage, especially with the Leandries, but they have to stand in it. And you have no CC to keep them there outside of the Lee Sin kick. Lulu Whimsy as well, potentially an option, but I mean, it's just really hard for OG to play out these team comps. I feel like they've built themselves something incredibly hard to play as we move forward in the game, where Splyce have so many tools to just start fights.
I mean, the thing for OG is, like, I'd actually argue that their comp is easier to play than Splyce's, right? Like, the big issue that OG have is that they've fallen behind in the early game, which has allowed Senkox and Wonder to be strong, independent laners, both on the side lanes. They've picked up a lot of big items, but also OG just in their setup for a lot of these fights. They have the vision, they're there preemptively against Splyce, but then they just don't coordinate properly. They don't utilize this comp that they should be able to better utilize.
Now, however, the itemization coming in. Wonder oozing confidence as he picks up the Medjai's Soul Stealer. Looks like 7 stacks already.
Yep, that's why he flashed for it.
Wants a little bit more. Sartorius goes golden. Fish goes up. Wonder goes out. Equalizer comes down. That's actually really good. Trashy potentially going to get taken out of the fight. That's a good play coming in from Syncroft. They're going to get it. Wonder fails the troll pull. Good start to the team. Another kill goes down as Knight gets something. Tabs! Oh, that's so much Vladimir damage. Here comes the Crimson Rush. Nahun makes it out. Blast Cone out. Extra fancy. Not going to use the Blast Cone in the end. Potentially a risky choice. Oh, what?
Oh, no, Nahun!
I didn't know you could... Oh, it goes over another one. There's another one. There's another one. There's another... No! Nahun, it has a 2-second cooldown. Oh.
Feels bad, man. Nahun ends up running into the wall. Not quite as planned, but we saw overconfidence from Wonder and Trashy. We saw them trying to get a 2v2 kill down on Sartorius and Syncroft. They actually played that very well, but unfortunately for them, it was not quite enough. And Splyce, they return in kind, getting themselves 2 kills onto Tabs and Nahun, and we are starting to see how difficult it can be to properly execute this Cogmore.
Gotta say, those who look at this replay, Sartorius and Syncroft recover well from what should have been a disastrous play.
It was a good response, like the kick into the Rumble ultimate, Trashy being forced to flash, and then Wonder.
Oh, you can see Nahun up here on the top side.
Oh, Mickey died as well in the top side. Didn't even notice that. Just utterly distracted. But then Senkox, Vladimir.
And the other thing that you're seeing there is Ezreal's at that dream point, right? He's got the Trinity Force, he's got the fully completed Muramana, and so he's hitting like a truck too. And pretty much every member of the Splyce lineup is strong at this stage.
Now this is the most kills for Senkox this split. See now.
Trying to fancy footwork his way in. Mickey gonna hookshot wall dive forward, but right into the hands of Nahun. He grabs one, exhaust goes down. Wonder TP's in, but OG just walking away.
Good damage from Nahun, is able to get himself the pick. And now Sartorius, he's on the retreat from Corby.
80 carry, hunting down.
Does he have a map for this is the real question. He's getting a little lost right now. Corby, open your map, goddammit. Nope, doesn't have one.
I love how literally you take the word, and sometimes not at all. The inconsistencies are wonderful. Oh, Syncroft. Interesting choice. Down he goes. Not a whole lot to say about that one. Kabi leaps forward. Good damage comes in from Splyce. What is Syncroft doing?
It was the, my man's telling me no. And he thought that because he was in a 4 versus 4, maybe he can go for it. Now Senkok's in a 1v3.
Nahun, his body's telling him yes.
Go on,
Move
Senkok's
forward.
throw the
Oh,
blood.
Kabi goes forward. Tabs, he's all alone on the backside. There's no one there to peel for him. Down goes the Hextech Idolmatum. Tabs holding on for dear life, but he just gets taken.
The Void Puppy gets collapsed upon by the robot. Can't quite escape from that. It doesn't matter if you flash, doesn't matter if you heal. Splyce, they have the collapse and to be able to get themselves another kill. Now, 6k gold lead. They're looking for more kills, though.
17 stack. Magi is Soul Stealer.
Not bad, not bad. But it's not quite 20 yet, is it?
They can go to 25, can't it?
Can he wonder? It can, in fact, go to 25. But that's what I'm saying. 20 is the benchmark with which I consider it to be a good Soul Season.
Yes, from all our other Soul Stealer games. Well, Pekka is trying to make the hero play. Synchro goes in, he gets it, that's nice! Woo! Say what you want, but that's a highlight reel moment. The fight starts to fall apart, but the Baron still drops for OG in the end.
Look at Trashy's face. He knew he done goofed. He thought there's no way they could get this steal. Syncroft just comes in, he's like, mine! Fantastic stuff from the OG jungler. If nothing else, he has that.
I just honestly feel bad for Trashy at this point. He's missed so many smites this season. I mean, you can see the team kind of just, well, not the team, Wonder. Wonder is laughing at him. The rest of the team still very focused, clearly.
And you know that they're saying, like, hey, we already have a lead, it's fine if we lose it. But look at this, uses the Q into the smite. Beautiful stuff from Syncroft. He can't get out, but that's fine, because they still get Baron onto 3 members of Origen. They'll take that, buy more time. He's like, did anyone see that?
That's my face when I become a meme. Poor Trashy.
Maybe they should just avoid Barons. You can see, like, in
I wonder if that's a discussion. Like,
Yamato's
do
notebook.
we Baron?
No, he's like, Yamato's notebook has like a page on each player, right? So he's like, Wonder, like, prefers split pushes to tanks. Good, note that down, note that down. He's been playing Fizz recently, great. Senkuts, Vladimir, great mid lane champion for him.
Solid, agreed.
He
We'll write
likes
that down.
split pushes too, great, we'll write that down. Trashy, Trashy. Baron, question mark? No, let's avoid that.
We'll put that in the bad column.
I mean, he's a great tank. His Gragas is fantastic. He's been playing well overall.
At the end of the day, remember that this Baron does just buy time. Origen holding on. Now, the later we get in the game, the more potential there is to move into a teamfight with some parity, to move into the teamfight on even footing. But we're not there yet. And it's still going to be a tough road. Baron actually not going to buy any time. Splyce is just grouping up and sieging down these towers.
Splyce like, you know what? We're just going to go into the gravity chamber right now. We're just playing on 100 gravity. It's fine. They want to improve going into week 10, right? They wanted to play on hard mode.
Is that what hard mode is in League of Legends?
Well,
just like
playing against the Baroned up team, yeah, I think it becomes a little difficult. Have a look at Wonder, though. He's still sitting on the side lane, up in the top. Splyce need to wait for him to really start pressuring onto that tier 2 tower before they can really commit onto these inhibitor towers. 5-man group of OG.
Surprise. Not going to be a surprise. Mickey doesn't want to go over the wall. Probably a smart choice. Cannot afford to fight the Rumble in a funnel no matter how far ahead you are, but it's the tier 2 tower set in their sights. Where's Sartorius? Where's the ultimate going to go? Splyce not coming in yet. Mickey locks down Sartorius. In goes the ultimate. Nahun comes over the wall. He's looking to get his way onto Kabi. He may be able to take him down. Leaps forward, leaps over the wall, takes him out, makes it to safety. Ignite's ticking down. He's slowly burning, but is he going to drop? Doesn't look like it. Oh, Mickey wants to change that. Slows him up. No, tack sweep knocks him down.
But look at this fight for Origen. They end up only losing 1 member, and they get 2 kills. Kog'Maw, he's at 2.5 items. He is starting to hit like that volcano that we were talking about. He is beginning to erupt all over Splyce. And yes, Splyce, they managed to get themselves that turret. But the fact that Origen are able to fight back in a couple of these instances, you have to wonder, like, hey, Splyce, how many greedy mistakes can you make? How many times can you disrespect Origen before you end up losing a bigger lead than you planned for?
Can you just do me a solid and never describe anything as erupting all over something?
Got it, got it.
All right, thank you. Well, Kog'Maw now moving towards a 3rd attack speed item, maybe a Wit's End, maybe a Gwinsu's Rage Blade. just double down on that ability to proc on-hit effects. But we take a look at the fight one more time. Starts off pretty well.
Just keep your eyes on Tabs at the top lane. Look, he's just sitting at the back. He has plenty of peel from Peke, and Wonder going in by himself, just nowhere near enough to be able to kill Tabs.
And OG
then
is split up.
Coming in from the flank. This is the power of Talon, though, in these team fights. Just being able to... He has so much mobility that a lot of people do not realize. And it just sucks that Mickey also has a lot of mobility, so that Nahyun can't get away.
Hook shot, wall dive. I feel like if he hadn't stopped there for a brief second to try and channel the recall, he may have been able to leap over a few more walls to make it to safety.
Oh, that's rough. Minus 75.
Keep in mind, so all the gold that you get from taking Baron, I believe, is included in that power play. So that nullified completely. And then another 75 taken away on the side of Splyce. You can see the gold totals on the bottom of your screen right now. Most members 1 to 2K ahead of their counterparts. Nahyun, one of the few members mostly keeping up, only down 1,000 gold himself.
Now, I am a little disappointed in Splyce because, Mickey.
Who scored? Mickey tries to use the parry to get safety. Syncroft kicks him out so he can walk to freedom. In comes the Ezreal, hits multiple members. Now the retreat. Satorius, nice flash.
OG.
I feel like we've seen this before, Vedius.
We have seen this before. Wonder in a side lane,
Satorius not going to take the fish in the end. Splyce now need to be careful. They can't afford to take a bad fight, but Satorius just gets deleted.
5-man collapse from Splyce now is going to result in an inhibitor. I don't think the Origen have any answers for it. The Cogmore, he's going to be forced to back away.
Oh, the last rites of Origen.
Things are looking hopeful for Origen. I mean, they looked pretty good in that fight in the top lane, but Splyce recognized the mistake. They said, you know what, let's not try and 5v5. Let's just split them up. Let's go back to our 1-3-1. It was working for us in game one. We have a comp designed for it, so let's just leave it as it is, keep playing that way, and they're able to get themselves a kill onto Satorius, which then opens up the base for them to move into
Wonder.
OG side of the map.
Kick goes in. Syncroft follows up. Mickey's still here. Is he going to stop the back? Looks like he's just going to keep running. I don't know how much longer Syncroft can chase. Wants to keep going. Urchin strike through. Nice mechanics from Wonder, but is the escape in the end? Now Baron 35 seconds away.
Do Splyce go for it? That's the big question mark. The thing is, they haven't exposed the inhibitor down bottom. Splyce can very easily play around this because Satorius is going to be forced to go down. There was a window just there, given that Wonder still hasn't gone back yet, for OG to actually get a bit of deep vision around Baron. But the pings are coming down from Splyce. They're saying, you know what, Trashy? It was a bit of a mistake first time round. We're going to give you another shot. But how many opportunities can you really give this man?
One shot, Vedius.
One opportunity? Just the one?
Just the one.
Oh, well.
Well, or maybe two, because I mean, they may just try to take the Baron.
I think they're going to try again.
Not everything is the way Eminem wrote. Although Syncroft may have one shot to escape. Actually, no chances now as the Hextech ultimatum falls. Down comes the heal, though. Team safe for now. Syncroft move forward. All goes out. Mickey's on the front line. Equalizer to try to find the disengage. Nahyun trying to leap into the back line. He's going to try to get Kabi. Leaps out to safety. Parkour right back out. Xpeke safe for now. Health bar's low, but Tab's starting to dish out some damage here. Ult burn.
Look at
Tab's still alive, but Senkux is the real threat here. Trashy moves forward. Senkux moving in as well. Tabs' may just get taken down. Kabi's still alive. Mickey leaps forward. Splyce are tearing through OG. Nahyun and Xpeke, they're holding on, but it may be too little too late. Wonder leaps down. Xpeke, he's doomed to fall. Nahyun, he's next on the menu. They clean up. Splyce with the ace.
They get themselves the team fight win that they have so desperately trying to get for such a long time. With 5 members dead from OG, Splyce can look to end the game.
Moving in, it's going to be quick, it's going to be clean, it's going to be the 2-0, and for all Origen's effort to fight back, they will find themselves in the promotion tournament, and Splyce will move up overall in the series. It's a 2-0 for this week. They got to get ready, they got to move forward towards the playoffs, and this is a great start for them to have.
Splyce, convincing game one. Not quite so convincing game two. Definitely up and down a little bit.
The 30-minute win in every lane.
It wasn't convincing.
It wasn't as convincing.
They lost a lot of fights. They lost
Fair.
the Baron. But I think that was very much overconfidence, a bit of disrespect, and having a bit of fun. I know we certainly had fun on this cast. And you can see that a lot of the players from Splyce certainly enjoyed it too.
Tab is actually with a smile on his face as well. I mean, when you think when you're Origen, the next step for you, obviously, you have a few more weeks in the LCS. You have a chance to scrim, and now you have a chance to get ready for the promotion tournament. And while it's not where you want to be, you know you're going to be there weeks ahead of time. So you do have the luxury of prepping. You can look at the opposition. You know who the real opponents are. It's no longer these LCS teams. It is those challenger rosters.
There are a lot of scary challenger rosters this split. The promotion tournament will be kicking off tomorrow with Schalke 04 versus Misfits Academy. Would highly recommend that you guys check that out to see who of those two teams will be making their way into the promotion tournament. But Splyce, they're well and clear of the promotion tournament right now. They have a very healthy record, and they're looking good. They're looking strong. I think that if they restrain themselves a little bit, they definitely can put up a very solid fight against the Unicorns of Love, as well as H2K.
And we have to think, I mean, they're not out of the running for second place yet. They're not committed to that third place spot. So if they continue to play well, if they continue to dominate their games, there may be room for them to move up in the seeding. And the difference between being that second seed and potentially finding yourself up against Fnatic on the opposite side and being the third seed and finding yourself up against Misfits, that's pretty massive.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of implications moving forward. And I just want to say that I very much enjoyed that game. It was a great cast. Always fun. Pleasure.
I love self-praise on broadcast. Always carries over well.
But it was made great thanks to what was a great game. We saw Fizz, we saw Talon, we saw the Vladimir, quite as exciting. But the Kog'Maw Lulu finally came out, not quite as successful as perhaps Origen would have liked. They really did struggle during the laning phase, a lot of pressure being exerted from the Camille and the Ezreal bottom lane. And it's cool to see how aggressive you can actually be with that duo combo. Mickey, so much confidence, getting so many stuns off and plays. Like, he is so good at that champion.
Well, as exciting as the bottom lane duo was from OG, we have to look at the top lane when we want to talk player of the series, because it was Wonder coming through for this team overall.
Very deserving.
And absolutely deserving. 2 games on the Fizz. Now, admittedly, game 1 was clean. Dirty. I don't really know how you want to describe it. It was good. It was a very good game. Game 2, a little sloppier, but still an impressive performance overall. And I gotta say, I love seeing the Fizz come out. It's a very exciting pick to watch. How viable is it? That's a question we'll see in coming weeks, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I like the fact that we are seeing these new picks with Blade of the Ruin King. I've been reading a lot from analysts and coaches and players all saying as to how 7.5 is like such a fun patch because of how much it opens, and I think that we're only scratching the surface right now. I feel like North America's more of the region that will experiment with picks, so expect to see a couple of crazy stuff coming out from them later on. But still, the fact that we are seeing these new innovations and changes in the meta is really cool to see. And Splyce seem to always be the team to deliver on these new champions.
Yeah, I really want to see, because normally we see 1 week before the meta settles, and it feels like every single game this week has had a different composition, different strengths. We see a lot of talent come out. Vladimir rising again in popularity, seeing a lot of bans this week. The mid lane has changed completely. The bot lane has changed completely. Top lane admittedly changed back in 7-4, but I feel like every single role has seen changes, and as I said, it's wide open. Is Fizz the right pick? Will we see the Akali? Probably not, but I'd love to see it. Like, there's so much room for experimentation.
There is potential, but she is a very difficult to execute champion. Doesn't quite have the same
that's his
level
way of saying
freedom.
It's bad. It's not a very good. It doesn't have CC. It doesn't have.
No, I mean, she's very all in, and she's not very all out, right? Like, whereas Fizz is a champion that can go into fights.
Champions that don't have the flexibility of going in or out, I feel like generally struggle a little bit. You can't just have a champion that goes forward. Generally does not
exactly.
work. End of the day, though, still a very good series overall, I think, from this team. And I think for Splyce, they can be happy with that win. It is the 2-0 in the end. It is very clean. But for more on that 2-0 from Splyce, Pyrotechnics is standing by with their jungler.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. More adventures of Vetty and Dracos, I appreciate it. But I'm joined by Trashy, and I want to talk to you about something you said earlier on in your feature a few days ago. Playing around Wonder and his champion pool, it's pretty big, but this time you brought it the Fizz. What was the game plan coming into today playing with that?
So basically, Wonder put a lot of effort into in the 7.5. There was a Fizz change, and he felt like Fizz was a good champion. So if Wonder tells himself that this champion is good, then he will play it, and then we will just find a way to play around it. And I mean, if he's gonna solo kill people in top, then it's easy to play around because then he will have pressure in the lane. So it was not really difficult to play around.
All right, fair enough. And your execution overall was pretty good. Almost flawless, but you had a bit of a stumble there with the Baron steal. What was going through your mind when that happened?
Actually, in this game, it didn't really matter too much because I knew we would win anyway, but it's not really the Baron momentum is not really on my side lately. Last year I would steal left and right, and this year enemy is stealing it. So yeah, just unlucky. I think it's Barons is like a lot about like confidence in your call and confidence in your weights. And if it has been stolen a lot of times in the season, then it kind of just goes into your mind a bit, and it's not a good thing. But I'm trying to work on it.
Well, not letting it get in your mind is definitely step one, even if you make the mistake. You talked about, telling me a little bit off stage, how you have a lot of family and friends that kind of watch day in and day out. You have some family here, and the team has some family here. How does that kind of affect your play on the day, going in and knowing that those guys are watching you right there in the studio?
So, I mean, us players are really busy, and it's not a lot of times where we can appreciate that we have family here that supports us. And today we have, I myself have my dad here and stepmom and my grandma even here watching. And even though sometimes I myself, and I'm sure the other guys are not appreciating them all the time and talking to them all the time, but it means so much that they're here supporting us. And I just want to say thank you to all the family that come by here and see the game.
Awesome. It's really cool to see that they come and support you. You can hear them as well. Wow. I mean, big moment especially, and you guys are not locked for playoffs yet, but you're very, very close. All you got to do now is beat Vitality, who you play next week. What's your plan coming into that game? Are you feeling super confident you can just knock it down?
I mean, right now, I think we, as the Splyce team, are just focusing on ourselves. I would be lying if I said everything was perfect in the Splyce house, but so we were just focusing on ourselves, and that's what matters. And I think if we play at the level we know we can play at, we will easily beat them.
All right. Well, looking forward to see how you guys can do in the next weeks and going forward into playoffs. Thank you once again, and congratulations on your win, Trashy.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and send it off to Shucks Crew with the post-game lobby.
Drama. Welcome everybody to the post-game lobby, where I'm joined by the Fisho and top laners Foxy from Roccat and Splyce's Wonder as we conclude top lane week and look back on the week that was. And I want to start first off by Wonder, and today your series versus Origen, quite convincing, I would say. Was it a series of trying new things out for you guys?
Yeah, I think this patch in general is a lot about trying new stuff, and I think our idea of draft that we had going into today was different from a lot of other teams. So I think it's fair to say that we tried all the bit of stuff, and it seemed to work out. But of course, you can't take a lot from games against lower tier teams. So we'll have to wait and see going into our games against HUK and Unicorns of Love, for example.
Yeah, how everything evolves indeed. Do you want to jump in?
No, I was just first pick Thresh, man. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Missed
back to
every
the old
hook.
days.
Yeah, the old days.
Well, you definitely had a really good series. You were also player of the series, so congratulations on that once again.
I think
yeah.
I'm actually.
Damn.
I think I'm leading. Am I
Are
number
you?
one?
We're gonna have
We had
someone check
Cacao.
that.
We
I
Yeah,
think
Wow.
I have 5 out of 6 wins.
Then you're leading then.
How many wins do we have?
So I detect that you find it quite important as well that you're top. But nah, not at all.
Every week he's like,
All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna,
every week I'm like checking.
Yeah.
I'm there.
still number
I'm
one?
there.
Cool.
We're gonna look into it, and meanwhile, we're also gonna take a look at a series from earlier this week, because the Unicorns of Love, they upset H2K in a 2-0 to claim the top spot in Group B. Honestly, who of you expected the Unicorns of Love to win? No, you didn't.
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
not.
no. So for us, it was kind of a surprise. Foxy, what do you think about that series? What happened there?
I think Odamne was too confident that he can do well in this matchup, and it showed that he just needed too much help and couldn't do much.
Yeah,
this game,
that was said about Odamne. Like, I had an off day. What do you think happened in the Rex and Camille matchup, Wonder?
I think, I mean, I can kind of like agree on him that coming from scrims, it's maybe a bit different. He thought of it a bit different, but like from this series, I would have thought HUK would win for sure. But it's also hard to judge from, because like if you scrim Unicorns, you never know what you get, and I feel like HUK has been really consistent lately. But maybe, like you said, they just dropped the ball, and they'll look for a bit more consistency in their games.
Does it worry you, the Fisho, that those late game problems, which were a problem before IEM, popped up in such an important series, even if it was an off day?
I mean, a little bit, but I just feel like for me, and I guess for everyone watching, is like you want to see the top teams realize what kind of issues they have, and then you want to see during the regular season they kind of fix the issues, so going into playoffs they don't have it anymore. Origen wasn't too worried, but like going into playoffs in every H2K series, I won't be 100% confident they're going to win the late game, for sure. Almost no matter what happens the last few weeks, and I think the problem for them was the comp they had in game 2 with the Rumble top lane, even with the goal lead, was pretty hard for them to play. And then against the Nautilus top, they just like, it seemed like they couldn't do anything whenever it was a pure 5-on-5. And that is still a little bit of a problem, but I guess we can say that they had an off day. But like, you shouldn't have those off days when you play for the first seed in your group, because they might have lost the semi-final.
Yeah,
right?
might have left the bye.
The bye, yeah.
Like, I think that Nautilus Rumble game in specifically, I think the HUK I know would have closed that game out, and I think that a lot of top teams should have closed that game out. I think they had a significant enough lead to play the game out, and I don't think even they get that hard outscaled if they just know what they have to play for in the game. And they kind of dropped the ball, and they got caught off guard by like them pretty much going ARAM and like grouping up and invading their jungle. And but I still think they should have won that game, and it should have went to a game 3.
Well, that is fair. I think we all can agree. But when we talk about improvement, we have to talk about Foxy and about Roccat. Pick up wins in both series here in week 8. Of course, Fnatic all the way back on Thursday, and then today again a clean 2-0 win over Giants. So I'm going to let the Fisho say something about Roccat before we go to Foxy, because this is also a surprise. Let's put it this way.
It's a surprise, but I love it. I absolutely love when a team who is 0-7 plays a 75-minute long game against Origen, managed to win the series, and then they win 3 other series in a row right after, and actually play pretty good League of Legends. Because the series today, like, you guys were much better than Giants in those 2 games, and I think that's very impressive.
What do you think it was today? Aside from your amazing Gnar.
Because the Gnar was amazing.
I think we just learned how to draft a bit better and play around our drafts better. Like before, we didn't really knew that. The wins definitely helped, but yeah, it just drafts. Counter pick top lane right now is really good, I think, on red side.
I think when it comes to Rocket, like I would have expected them to do a lot better coming into the split as well. I think that looking at just on paper, I would have expected them to be more, like at least a lot more convincing than Giants. And Fnatic right now is kind of struggling a bit, so it's also like I would say that Rocket looks the better of the 3, and that's kind of how I've expected it. Like besides Fnatic, who right now is having some issues, but like of course the Gnar helps, and he's definitely a contender for best Gnar in Europe at the moment.
Also second to you, of course.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything about
But you're not saying it. That Wonder is feeling good today.
No, he's good on Gnar, and it's definitely like a big reason they win the games.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, huge impact. And well, as you mentioned there, the playoff picture, possibly taking a look at the standings as week 8 reaches its conclusion. Origen now, first and foremost, officially mathematically locked into the promotion tournament, and then H2K, Misfits, Unicorns of Love, G2, only teams locked in the playoffs. But as you mentioned there, Fnatic struggling, Roccat on the way up. We talked to Foxy about it before as well, if it was possible, and you say, of course, it all hinges on that match versus Misfits. So
yes, I think Misfits is a pretty tough opponent. I won't be too confident in that matchup, but definitely if it's our day that day, I think we can take it if it's our day.
Do you agree, Fisho?
Ooh, I think it's tough. Like, it's hard when he's right there next to me and everything, but
Hard.
I think Misfits, even on a bit of an off day, will still be better than Roccat and
What
win
about
the
game 1
series.
versus G2 Misfits?
I mean, yeah, no. I think I can see Misfits lose a game in the series, but I think they will take it at least 2-1 then, and they're gonna lock their second place, and sadly probably keep Roccat just outside. But again, you guys are obviously gonna avoid promotion tournament as it looks right now, which is also really good when you were 0-7 like 2 weeks ago. So I'm gonna give it to Misfits almost no matter how they play.
All right.
I mean, I think Misfits is a really strong team, and I do think there's ways you can like make them a bit less convincing. I think you can do some things around how the top jungle works together, and you can definitely put I feel like Alfaria on some chance where he doesn't have that much impact as he usually does, and in that way you can maybe do some things there. But of course, I'm not going to sit here and say that Roccat is going to win against Misfits or something like that. I think they're definitely like a top maybe 3 team at the moment. So
We need some Foxy Gnar. then it can happen.
It's still going to get banned out.
It's totally going to get banned out. That's first ban.
But yeah, maybe you guys have something up your sleeve. And it's very interesting that I like that we're talking about this match in this manner now, because only 2 weeks ago we wouldn't have. And Rocket has just made incredible strides. Before we move on, Wonder, you were right. You've taken the #1 spot on the Player of the Series leaderboard over Kakao, Sven, and Jankos. So.
We voted for Senkox, so...
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Second game at least.
Yeah, second game, definitely
game.
like he... I mean, it was a bit back and forth. I think second game, it was kind of hard for me to do anything because they kind of had the tent in top lane, and I just had to, like, I feel like I played the way that's giving up a lot of things and just playing it really safe. I think I played that smart and well, but of course, Senkox just popped off in the mid lane, and it's not my fault that people get solo killed everywhere. So I mean,
you did your job.
I did my job, I feel like, and I think my team probably did more than enough. So.
Yeah, and you guys booked the win. As for us, we will be back on Thursday as week 9 of the Spring Split kicks off. As we have Splyce versus Vitality up then, G2 versus Giants will be Thursday. It looks like more of a clear-cut day, but then the Rocket versus Misfits comes up, Unicorns of Love, OG. It's going to be hard for the bottom teams to get wins there, and the Fnatic versus Giants closer will be very important.
Oh, that'd be super important if Fnatic lose that series. Obviously, I guess depending on how you guys played against Misfits, if you lose to Misfits, I think Fnatic is pretty safe. But still, they obviously want to bounce back because you want to have some wins going into playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, looking at week 9, it feels like it's a lot of one-sided matchups. I think if I have to bet on like every team, like who wins here and there, I think I would at least get a pretty good percentage right, because I think it looks kind of rough for a lot of these bottom tier teams at the moment, and I don't think there will be a lot of upsets.
But Vitality has Kachai now. Maybe they can pull something off.
Yeah,
that's true.
They looked a lot stronger, I think.
Pulling down the
Wow.
Splyce.
We'll talk a bit more about that and continue our top lane discussion with our special guest. So if you're watching us in client, be sure to hit up eu.lolesports.com for the full post-game lobby. All right, there we go. Phew, that's out of the way. Let's go. What do you want to talk about, Fish Show?
Fizz top lane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Give me Fizz top lane. Okay. So first game, Sartorius didn't know how much damage you could deal when you got the first blood.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general a lot of people have no clue what Fizz does. It's a lot different to when Fizz top was last meta. Like he had the dot on the W, and now it's a lot more burst, a lot more like less. It's a lot more like bursty trades, like short trades you do, and I think he was just not used to it, and that's probably why that he got killed.
Is it top tier? Or is it more, I was testing it, I was just trying, he didn't really know the matchup?
Can you say that, though?
And can you say that?
I mean,
yes.
I think it's a pick I will play moving forward. I don't think it's bad in many ways. I don't think it has a lot of counters. And of course, I'm not going to sit here and give away what counters Fizz or anything. I'm just going to let people find out or figure out eventually. But I think it's definitely a good champ, and it has a lot of safety as well and a lot of playmaking potential. Everything I like, kind of.
Good.
Every top laner is happy with the current meta. We also asked our viewers at home to send in some questions for you guys with the hashtag #AskATopLaner. And Chris, he wants to know, what was your favorite top laning meta of all time?
Fiora.
Fiora.
I mean, I can say that I didn't play top lane before season 4. So like in start of season 4, end season 3, I didn't play top lane. So I would probably say like the meta where a lot of Aurelia was being played, Fiora, a lot of like pretty much last season actually, where you played like could play GP, you could play Fiora, Aurelia, stuff like that. I think that's a really fun and exciting meta. Not like Tank Echo, even though Tank Echo is probably one of the funniest tanks to play, but Poppy, Maokai, all these champs, I don't
Maokai, this out of nowhere.
Yeah, Maokai as well.
We love some Maokai. What about you, Foxy?
I'd say top Echo was actually the most fun for me. I really like that champion.
AP Echo is really fun. I think Tank Echo is then degrades a bit, but it's still okay to play.
The Fervor Trinity Force Echo, I'd say that was really, really fun. And obviously, the Fiora Aurelia was also my type. The split push.
I mean, I'm waiting for the Fiora. We have the Fizz now. We have the Renekton in there.
It's banned.
No,
It's banned.
is it bad?
It's banned. It's banned every game.
Oh, it's banned. Yeah.
I think Fiora in competitive, it's a champ where a lot of champs in top lane right now and jungle evolves around being able to like dive, and you can kind of pressure and push the wave and then dive her, and I really don't know how good the champ is. I think it has like, of course, it's being played like sometimes, occasionally, like maybe in Korea or something, maybe like a Smith
NA.
would pull it out against the tank or in NA or something. But
You can see the poker face. It's like, yeah, if you're
yeah,
terrible, disgustingly bad, I'm totally not going to
We
play
did
it
hear
next week.
Trashy say in that interview that, you know, when you want to play something, you guys just put your heads together and find out how he can help you and how you can play it. So
I mean, that's basically just me saying I want to play this. And
yeah,
then,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, then it probably doesn't matter what he thinks really. But yeah.
Well, to that, Satindari wants to know, who is your favorite champion to play in solo queue that is out of meta? Foxy, you mentioned the Echo. Is there any other thing that you really, really love playing?
Right now, I'd actually say Fiora is kind of out of meta, so I like to play Fiora a lot and Jace a lot. Just these carry champions, kind of.
Yeah.
I would say Akali or LeBlanc top maybe. I played a lot of LeBlanc top with Trinity
Dirty
Force,
cheese,
and
eh?
I really want that to come back. That was
Oh
the
my
funniest
God.
experience.
Did
ever.
I have like a distant memory of an official game where Soaz played LeBlanc top, or am I?
You played Ziggs top, and you played Talia top.
Yeah, they played in LMS I think a lot, or in China. I think they played a lot of LeBlanc top actually, at more
Did
than 10
Soaz play
games.
it? Maybe so.
I have a memory of that, but
I want to know.
At that
Yeah.
point, I was playing solo queue and like some challenger games, national games as well, and I played it a bit. But I think that was a really fun champ to play, and Akali as well, or something like that.
I want to ask you, Foxy, because all these top lanes always talking about, you know, playing carries, split pushers, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yorick. After the rework.
No.
Okay, so what is wrong
No.
with Yorick? What does he need?
What does he need?
Because he's a pure split
No,
pusher.
no.
It's fun spells, maybe.
Okay. Fun
Maybe some
spells.
mobility.
Fair, he's
some
pretty
jumps,
slow,
like-
yeah.
Actually, I could compare Yorick a bit to Trundle, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, do you really need to play this champ, man? Can it just get nerfed and maybe
It's just to spend so much time reworking him, and then no one
Yorick
wants to
support,
use him.
Trundle support? That's fun.
I just want to see someone use his ulti in competitive. The problem is he's just like,
yeah.
everything else is just pretty useless.
No, but his old was more fun.
Yeah, that
to
was
watch,
better,
no?
obviously,
That
than
was that was funnier to watch, I think.
So no one plays Yorick in high elo solo queue.
No.
I don't encounter
think
any.
he's
I saw they played in NA a bit, in NA challenge, like the challenge solo queue, but I looked at it and I was like, nah, these guys are just bad.
Like the laning is worse than before, so you're not even that lane abuser that always was, you know, like abusing lane really hard. Now you even lose lane, like
Okay.
it's just
I
even worse.
can't lie, I've played Yorick a bit, okay?
See, I knew it.
So I know that it's the reworked one is better against melee matchups. So like, but the older one was better against like range matchups because he had this goals you could just like he would get live and slow them and stuff like that. But you can't really do that anymore. So
if you are that Yorick one-trick amazing player, you can tweet at Esports #AskATopLaner and tell us what these guys have to do to make it work, because we'd love to know. And maybe one more tweet. Dero wants to know, as a top laner, what do you want the most from your jungler? Good one, maybe, Foxy. Ganks?
Attention.
I don't get much help from my jungler, but all I want is kind of just some cover. Sometimes when I'm about to get dived or something in bad matchups, that's all I want
Some
from my
love.
jungler. Don't really want him to camp my lane because I know he doesn't like that. So
Yeah.
just some cover sometimes.
Oh, Wonder, you mentioned like adaptability, that you get the freedom to play what you want to play.
yeah, I think for my jungler, like it depends on the matchups I play. Honestly, sometimes you just need cover. Sometimes you don't even need to play around your lane because maybe it's like tank versus tank or something that doesn't really snowball as much as maybe other lanes. So I think some wards or something. If you have pressure, I would like my jungler to go up and ward maybe deep in the jungle or something, or maybe dive him if that's a possibility. And if it's not, then that's basically all I need. And I feel like I would be able to play the lane on my own.
They're being so nice. They're sitting and whining and calling for the jungler
Yeah, that's
every
actually
minute
true.
in game. They're like, Maxlaw Trashy, top lane, where are you?
Maxlaw has a fun playstyle right now where he likes to farm the jungle. So I enjoy to play against Maxlaw at the moment.
Trashy's not allowed to. He has to go camp
Yeah,
the
has to
lane.
go. That's farming as well. Well, as long as we're on the topic of social media, Foxy, you were mentioning before that you were kind of touched by the bad Reddit comments or the community comments. So I looked up some good ones for you from today.
Yeah, a lot of them today.
Yeah, Foxy is a beast on Gnar. I see here Foxy's Gnar was a joy to watch, seeing him going ham, carrying by himself. Insane play by Foxy. So does that? How important is that to you too? Because you obviously mentioned the bad ones, so this must
I don't
be a
really
boost.
watch Reddit much, but other people tell me what other people, Redditors, write about me. Like in the Origen game when I played Gnar, there was a lot of hate, some funny jokes about my Gnar. So I guess it makes me a bit happy that they like me now. They like my Gnar.
Wonder, do you read do you care a lot about the online comments?
No, I honestly don't care about it, but I like to read it just for my own entertainment, because it's always fun to read what other people, like, they always know the answer, like, quote unquote. So
Of course, they challenge you.
yeah, they're all challenger in there, and they like to know what I do wrong, and especially in Spring Split, my first split here, I was getting flamed a lot, right? But I knew what I did wrong myself, and I don't think I needed any Redditors to tell me that and like learn from or something. So I just read it to get a good laugh, and then I just moved on and played my game.
Yeah, it's about finding a healthy balance. What about you? I have a comment here, actually. I didn't like the Fisho at first. It sounded like he was chewing a brick, but I'm really warming up to him.
Great, thanks. I've heard that one quite a few times, how people used to hate me and now they really like me. So I like Reddit right now, because
All right.
there's a lot of good comments in there. Keep it going, guys. Don't stop.
Same good.
Yeah, it was actually Shocks 29.
Yeah.
All right, in any case, as the Spring Split playoffs draw closer, it's a very important time for us to turn our attention to the Challenger Series, because the teams that will be fighting to take the place of the most underperforming teams in the EULCS. And for more, here is Medic.
Thank you, Shocks. I'm Aaron Medic Chamberlain, and I'm here to break down what's coming up in the European Challenger Series. 2 weeks ago, we saw the Spring Split come to a close, with Schalke 04 sitting pretty at the top of the standings, undefeated across the entire split. With 5 teams battling it out for the last 3 playoff spots in the final week, it was Paris Saint-Germain, Fnatic Academy and Misfits Academy that managed to lock in their spots for the playoffs. Tomorrow, we see Schalke 04 face off against Misfits Academy in a battle for the first promotion spot. Let's start off this breakdown with a look at Schalke. They've arguably been the best team ever seen in the Challenger Series. Without losing a single game, they bulldozed through their opposition and now stand on the cusp of getting back into the LCS. Schalke's season has been defined by their impeccable macro play. They ended the regular split after taking 92 towers and only losing 19. In other words, for every 1 tower they lost, they managed to take 5. Now, Selfie is a player that has always been striving to reach the highest tier of League of Legends play. It's been a difficult road for him, but he has shown signs of brilliance across the splits, picking up double kills early on in a lot of his games. Among the moments of genius, however, we have seen signs of overconfidence. Millennium are the only team that seemed to have stretched Schalke, and they did so by camping Selfie in that middle lane. There are cracks in the armor of Schalke 04, no matter how impenetrable they may seem. Compared to Schalke, however, Misfits Academy's road to the playoffs has been full of potholes. Losing their starting jungler Kadir, they had to bring in Pridestalker to fill his role in week 2. After a few turbulent games, Pridestalker and the Misfits began to find their stride. It's never an easy feat to join a team midway through a season, especially when your predecessor has performed so exceptionally well. Pridestalker took up the mantle as Misfits jungler after Kadir had to bow out. Known as the solo queue terror, he struggled to convert his solo queue fame into on-stage form. When the 2 teams last met, Pridestalker found himself ever stalked by the presence of EULCS. If he manages to shake this deadly shadow, Misfits Academy definitely have a shot of taking down Schalke. After Schalke and Misfits square off tomorrow, we'll have to wait an entire week before we find out who will be joining the winners in the promotion tournament. Fnatic Academy, with a revitalized roster, line up against Paris Saint-Germain, the pre-season favorites. Our victors will head into the promotion tournament against the 2 fifth-place teams from the LCS groups, starting on the 6th of April. But the next step on the road to the big league starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central European time. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you so much, Medic. Super interesting there. The best Challenger team there ever was. Does Wonder have anything to say about that?
I mean, I played Challenger Series when Origen was there, and
right.
I feel like that they might be competing for that spot. I think that at that time Origen was, even though they went 9-1, they lost the game. I think they were like maybe 3 levels above everyone else. I think maybe individually someone could, because we were all solo queue players and we were individually we were fine, right? So we could probably match them a bit, but then mid game came, and or even just the rotations, early game, how they played the map, and then kind of just crumbled. So
Origen definitely has had back then more potential than the current Schalke one. I feel like Origen's ceiling was much higher. That's why also they went all the way to top 4 when it came to Worlds, because they had like Mithy, Pick, Sven, all these guys. Funny enough, though, I remember when Splyce was a challenger team and they played the Challenger final. Do you remember that here in the studio?
It was a 5 game.
It was 5 games, and
I do remember.
it was back with the 5 dragons, and we had like, was it, I don't know.
4 out of 5 games.
4 out of 5 games,
were 5 dragons.
Nothing happened
Best
for
dragon
like
control
50
ever.
minutes, and there was just dragons. We were like, oh great, Splyce is in the LCS now. It's like they do nothing.
We started playing at like 6, and then at 11 or something we were finished, and I was like,
oh, it took forever, man.
I mean, but that's the nature of those games, right? It's so
Of
important.
course.
it was the biggest headache after the games. I just felt like going home and taking a nap real quick. So
But you made it in.
And nap at
Made it
11
in.
p.m. You
So-
could just go to bed, you know?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's a pro gamer though, so.
yeah. I mean, our adrenaline was kind of pumping a bit after that, so maybe sleeping right after is kind of hard, but yeah.
Is nerves a big problem for you still, Foxy?
No, I don't think nerves were really a problem this split. I just found myself really confident in my skill.
Yeah.
So
Do you think Schalke will make it into the LCS without any problems? Or can you see them maybe struggle in a promotion tournament game?
I'm not sure. If they're against Origen, they probably won't struggle a lot to get into the LCS.
What
Actually-
about Giants?
I also think they're better than Giants, yeah.
What about Rocket?
No,
They're not going to play
we're
Rocket.
not
Well,
going to play them.
we're running through the
Yeah.
scenarios,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, obviously it's double elimination.
Yeah.
So let's say
Yeah.
Schalke makes it all the way through, then the 2 LCS teams can still either face each other or they face like whichever other challenger team makes it in. Like technically, Schalke also has to beat Misfits Academy before they're actually in the promotion tournament.
Definitely.
So we want to see in the BO5s if they can still, continue to
Yeah, the
steamroll.
Fnatic Academy up versus PSG. And also, very interestingly, that promotion tournament, it's different from previous years. It starts before our playoffs, so that is 3 weeks now. So also for a team like Origen, you had a tweet there from Tabs before that said already mentally like starting to prepare for that promotion tournament because it's only 3 weeks away. Will that make a big difference?
I mean, I don't know. It kind of feels like maybe it's a bit easy to just focus on the promotion tournament now, since like they can't change anything in the standings right now. So it depends on what team you are and what like kind of mentality you have, because either it could be like it could go really hard down from here because they feel like they're not playing for a reason or stuff like that, or they could take this as new motivation that they don't really have to care that much about how it goes in LCS and just focus on like ironing out the problems they have. But if like my opinion about the promotion tournament is kind of that Schalke is probably better than the bottom 5 teams in LCS right now. So that's like Fnatic, Rocket, Giants, Vitality, and Origen. So.
But we also said that last year, or last split, I remember, with Misfits, when they were playing. And it was like, yeah, these guys are just going to steamroll everything. Not as good, obviously, as Schalke. I'm not saying they were as good.
I mean, I didn't agree on that either.
That's fair. It's just like a lot of people were like getting on 3-0 everything. I remember there were some predictions like maybe it's not going to be so easy. They lost to Origen and had to then beat Schalke, obviously, to make it in the last one and knock Schalke out. So it's always tricky when you're on stage. But actually, there's super quick question for both of you guys.
No, you got time.
Oh, we got time? Oh,
Do
great.
your
I was
thing.
just saying.
Yeah.
Long question then. You guys were 0-7, and then you guys last year in spring obviously also had your like losing streaks, and you're down in the bottom of the standings. You mentioned like with your Origin, you just gotta iron out your problems. You don't really think too much about the standings. But like when you're on losing streaks, like how's the atmosphere like on the team? I assume it's like after every time you lose on stage, don't you just kind of get a little bit more sad and demotivated to kind of work on your problems? Or is it just easy enough to say we just need to fix this and then it's good?
For us, I don't think morale was a problem. Like we always had high morale in our team. Like even losing scrims, like losing LCS, I think it didn't affect us that much. Like because everyone in the team is like really funny, like the jokes all the time. Like we have a Korean that's joking all the time.
Yeah,
so.
tell us about Wadid, because he
Wadid?
looks like
He's a really
having
funny
a lot
guy,
of fun.
a really positive guy. Like, he's the type of guy that would, in a game, let's say, a Baron is stolen or something, Maxer doesn't smite it, and Wadid is like, it's fine, Maxer, don't worry. It's fine, next Baron will get it. He's that type of guy in the team.
Who's that type of guy in Splyce?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, right now, we are kind of lacking a lot of. Our team morale is not as high as it used to be. So even though like in these games, because we played Origen and it was kind of we could mess around a bit without losing the game. So in these games we were a bit loose and we said it's fine. Even though they stole Nash, like we will win the game anyway. So it's okay. But I would say we all have like a role like that. I think it just depends on the day and like if someone is probably like feeling a bit better in the game and or something, he will be the guy who cheers people up as well.
Yeah. You mentioned morale, and Trashy also hinted at it. Is that like the main thing? If you had to say, you know, this is the main difference from last year, because we also had the big storyline, you know, all the Danes together then, and the friendship prevails and all that, and it's kind of your first year, so you're allowed a bit more mistakes, but now the pressure is really on.
I think the main issue right now is that we just struggle really hard to improve. Even though we are winning games in LCS and we are doing fine, I think we just met with like a wall, and we are trying to improve further and expand on like on our playbook and stuff like that, and it just doesn't seem to work out, or we don't seem to improve at as a fast pace as other teams. So it kind of you don't even have to be the losing team to have a bad morale, or you can also be the team that sure you can win against bottom tier teams, but you're not improving as fast, and that can make you feel really bad as well about playing and really make you demotivated. So
same thing that G2 says, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, you know, if you play scrappy games and everyone is expecting you to win. Like coming into this, most people thought Splyce would be the G2 of, you know, Group A or Group B, where it's like it would be Splyce #1 and then it would be G2 #1, because you guys had that really good summer split and the same players, everything was the same. And then obviously it went pretty downhill, and now you guys, I think you're climbing your way back up. Like even if you're saying you guys don't improve as fast as possible, I don't see that huge of a difference between you and, let's say, a Misfits, a Unicorns, and an H2K right now. Maybe you feel the difference in scrims, but I don't see it when you guys are playing, at least.
No, I definitely think that there's not like the widest gap between us and the other teams. I just think that personally we would want to be the best possible team, right? We don't want to look really at other teams and how they do things, because of course every team has issues, right? So not every team is going to have a perfect year or perfect split. So we're just looking at ourselves and we feel like we could do better, and it's kind of not working out as we would like it to, at least. So.
But it's looking upwards now, another victory on the book. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see you guys all next week as week 9 of the regular split gets underway. We're going to take a look at the matches again. As said, Splyce versus Vitality, a lot of very clear-cut ones. You know, aside maybe the Fnatic versus Giants one that could be an important one, and Roccat versus Misfits, which would be a monumental win for Roccat in the standings. For us, though, it is time for us to log off as Top Lane Week comes to an end. Thank you guys very much for joining us here on for Top Lane Week and PGL.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No problemo. Well, we'll see, and you too. We'll see you at 5 p.m. on Thursday, Central European Time, as the EULCS 2017 Spring Split continues. Have a great Saturday night.
Yeah, he does get the knock up onto Maxwell, but in comes Meganar. He's going to flash juke it all out, but they gnaw him into the wall and blow him away. Let's see if he gets great help off this time. He does. On the hunt, goes through, and now Giants. It looks like round 2. They're going to lose for it. Jordan picking up hustle, and EQ blows the curtain call, but there's no one in the back. Betsy dives in, snaps back. Okay, continue their surge. They will grab game number 1, a convincing victory, and a stylish 1-2 over Giants. And now Rocket are trying to react as Baxi came in and got a big gnar against the wall. Yarna gets 1, Yarna gets 2. Giants and Betsy right on top. There's the exhaust. He goes in. Let's see if they can finish the job. Yes, he can. It's Yarnan that finishes him off with a piercing arrow. Flagshift, they weren't in sync with this one. EQ, he's insane now by Foxy. He's going big on this one in mini-gnar. Or no, not nearly. That's going to be just enough to finish the Nexus. It's Rocket. No minions required. They're going to take it out. 39 minutes, 2-0.
I didn't know that would do that much damage! First blood goes to London!
That knocked back. Where's that going to go?
Neiman goes back in for round 2. Can he get it? Oh no! Fizz!
This is Splyce cleaning up, taking members down. Nathan wants a final kill for himself. He's not going to get it. Quadra comes in for the fish, and this is the story of Wonder dominating. Makes it right difficult. Running forward, they're trying to take him down. He's getting first blood.
There's no flash available on Expected. He's going to go down. Taz potentially next. Trashy flashing forward. Mickey with the extend. That's 2 kills for Splyce. Ball through the wall. Trashy now trying to get something in. Mickey leaps forward again. Is going to use the Hextech ultimatum. Tabs, no safety from Wonder, but the equalizer goes in. Not going to stop the fight, though. Splyce take the advantage.
Tabs still alive. Maybe be able to get something back. Can't get it in the end. Heals up, and Wonder comes in for the cleanup. Double kill for the fish.
You can see Sengox, he's annoyed about that play. That was going to be his kill. Wonder laughs as he steals it away from him.
Splyce will move up overall in the series. It's a 2-0 for this week. They got to get ready. They got to move forward towards the playoffs, and this is a great start for them to have.